Yo, what's going on everybody? It's Bam and welcome to my Elden Ring main boss tier list. And here I'll be ranking each boss, and these are only the bosses that you need to fight, like the main ones and the remembrance bosses, along with the Great Room bosses. First off, we're going to start from beginning to end in order right here. We're going to start off with Godric. Godric was a very fun boss fight. I loved his design. I loved the dragon he just pulls out and just somehow manages to bring it back to life. It's so sick. And the fact that you're able to summon somebody to help you, Ragier, thank you for helping me out with this boss fight. But you also don't need to. I didn't really fight him purely solo because I did summon Ragier. So it wasn't that difficult for me to beat him. I was a bit over leveled to be fair, but overall I think he was an amazing boss fight. I think it was very fitting to make him the first Great Rune boss. And where am I going to put him on the list? B tier. Like I said, amazing boss. I love his moveset and I love his voice line. The I command thee kneel. It is so sick. It goes so hard. His weapon isn't the greatest, but it's still pretty good overall. Next up we have Queen Renala of the Full Moon. I personally didn't really enjoy this boss fight, but I did enjoy the arena. The arena was so sick, and also the OST was amazing. Her transformation with Ronnie helping her out there, so wholesome. It really shows that she still has a love for her family. Some dislikes I have about this boss are one, obviously her magic that she spams at you. Even though she's easily staggerable, she runs away constantly. And if you don't have a long weapon, you're kind of fucked. Looks wise, beautiful, amazing. I love the arena. I love her moveset. They look so good. I just don't like the amount of projectiles she sends out at you. And I also think I did use wolf summons here. I'm not too sure. I don't really remember, but if I did, that kind of brings her down lower because I didn't really find her that fun. And so I'm going to move her to C tier. Next up, Star Scourge Radon. Radon is the most epic boss fight. The fact you can basically spawn a bunch of people to help you fight him just brings out the massive size of the battle, the huge scale of it. You're basically going at war with him. You have a bunch of troops with you can summon. You can also fight him solo. I personally didn't do that. I summoned all of the guys around me, Alexander, Lithe, and I don't really remember the other guys' names. His moveset, really cool. The fact that he is using his gravity magic to keep his horse safe and not to get crushed from him is really sweet. And his meteor move is just sick. I love it so much. It is so cool. And I'm going to place him in the A tier. You know what? I'm actually going to go in order of when I fought them. I forgot to do the Red Wolf of Ranon, so I'm going to do that one next. This fight, very easy, but also very annoying. Once you get down the timings of when to attack, which is basically when the wolf slams on the ground, then it is fairly simple. I didn't really have a ton of struggles with it, but it was pretty annoying with the magic spam. Again, I do not like spamming projectiles in boss fights. It is so annoying. So I'm gonna move it in D tier, mostly because I didn't really enjoy it that much. Yeah, it's cool lore wise, pretty sweet, but overall not the most fun boss fight. I really think these wolf enemies are pretty annoying to fight out of the world too. All right, I'm gonna zoom in a bit too. Here we go. I think this looks better. Next up, Leonine Begotten. This was the very first boss I fought, I'm pretty sure. The boss fight was very fun. The moveset was sick, even though he wasn't that big of a boss here. Didn't really have much qualities going for him, but I did think it was a really fun boss fight, even though I kind of struggled on him a bit. So I'm gonna move him in the same tier as the Red Wolf of Ragon, the D tier. Not because he's bad. He's definitely not bad. He just doesn't have much of a purpose as a boss compared to the other ones. I'm just noticing I didn't fight a couple of these guys like you and you. I'll just do the ones I did fight. Next up, Valiant Gargoyle. Valiant Gargoyle was a dual boss, and I did use Mimic tier because it was a 2v1. I was going to make it fair, make it a 2v2. Pretty tough. I did beat it first try though, but if you did fight a solo, I'm sure you would not have much fun at all. They are very annoying when they fight together, but their moveset, very cool. The weapons, also really cool. I'm gonna move it to E tier because I didn't really have much enjoyment fighting them. Next up we have Regal Ancestor Spirit. This fight was majestic as fuck. I love the OST. The moves he did fit really well with the actual nature aspect of it. It was like a divine moose, which is basically what it is, to be fair. And the fight, I loved it. You know, the move's sick, the OST's sick, the design is sick, the arena also really sick, but it didn't have much of a purpose to the story. And I'm gonna move him to D tier with the other two non-really important boss fights. Next up, we have Estelle, Natural Born of the Void. To get to this boss, you must do the running quest line, and this boss fight, I love it so much. The design is amazing. I love the cool alien-like species it is. The fact there are also two of these you can fight, the second one being the hardest. He spawns multiple clones of himself. You know, if you ever played Terraria and fought the Brain of Cthulhu, it is sort of like that. The amount of stuff going on really just boosted up my dopamine, and again, I love this boss fight. I love the lore to it, the design, the beautiful arena with the stars in the background. It looks so cool. The only thing I didn't really like is the fucking grabbing aspect when he teleports and just fucking gives you back shots. Pause, but it's true. And I'm gonna place him in C tier. Next up, we have Godfree, first Elden Lord in his spirit form. I did use a summon on this guy, but his moveset is really readable. Really fun boss fight if you fight him solo. He's basically going to be in the same tier as the other Godfree, other than the fact that the other Godfree has two forms. But overall, this boss fight, really cool. I like the lore aspect to him, being the protector there. So I'm going to move him into D tier, mostly because it wasn't really a fair fight to him. I kind of cheesed him a little bit, but in my other playthroughs, I had a little bit of fun with him. Going in order here, we're gonna have Morgot the Almond King. You see Morgot multiple times in the story as you progress through, whether it be Stormvale Castle, the capital, and the top of the capital where you fight him. When you fight him as Margit, that boss fight, really fun, really enjoyable. To the OST, honestly, pretty good. I love the voice lines of him too. He's like measuring your strength in a way with his two Margit forms, and then you see him for the third time, but actually in his Morgot form. And when you fight Morgot, it's just so cool. He's like the last one actually protecting the throne other than Horal Lou. His pride in being a demigod really brings him up there. You know, him putting down the other demigods for being traitors, which is fair. You know, he's just doing his job. But again, this boss fight, I loved it. His moveset, really sick. His fucking Damascus sword he has, really cool design. It was so cool seeing the cinematic of him just taking off all the rocks surrounding it, all the rust, and just pulling it out. Seeing it for the first time was amazing. And so I'm gonna put him in B tier. Next up, Rykard, Lord of Blasphemy. Rykard is obviously the most ugly boss. You know, his gimmick is just he has lava surrounding him, and you're almost forced to use a sword that's given to you to actually do damage to him, unless you want to run up to him in the lava and cheese him that way. I never thought of that, so I did summon on him. I also didn't like the fact that he cornered you constantly. You had nowhere to run most of the time. It was just such an annoying boss fight to me. And like I said, I did not enjoy it at all. Fuck Rykard and everything he fucking lives for, okay? I understand if you feel different, but me personally, I despise this boss completely. And I'm gonna put him in E tier. I did like the design of it. I did love the OST. But everything else with the gimmicks kind of brings him down. Next up. Oh, I didn't do Margit. I forgot this. Yeah. So like I said, Margit, really cool OST, really cool moves. I love his voice lines he does. He's just testing you, seeing you the first time, measuring your strength twice the first time, right before Stormvale, and the second time when you enter the capital. I'm going to put him in C tier, right below Morgot, because this is basically his weaker form and it's not as fun as the actual one. Next up, we have Lich Dragon Fortis, my second favorite dragon fight in the entire game. Lich Dragon Fortis is such a cool boss. His moveset is sick. His design is really cool. The fact that he's basically a zombie dragon, and he's also the partner of Godwyn the Golden. Him being inside of a nightmare really cool because he's in a nightmare. Also, his arena looks sick. The like sky looks fucking so cool. I love this so much. Just the looks of it, beautiful. The OST also fantastic. The moveset really cool. The boss fight just really cool in general, and that's gonna bring him up to A tier. Next up, we have Fire Giants. I fought Fire Giant with my boy Alexander and we completely whooped his ass. You know, I just used a Godskin Peeler and spammed the art of it and it just did so much damage. Like 12,000 in the span of a few seconds was just marvelous. You know, it was so satisfying seeing his health just get down so low. He was being melted. Absolutely melted. The design of Fire Giant also really sick. You know, he has an eye on his chest. His chest is basically a face. Really fun boss fight. Really cool landscape you fight him on. And therefore, I'm going to put him in C tier. Let's put him in high C tier as well. There we go. Next up, we have the Godskin Duo. This fight is hell. Actual hell if you don't have any sleep bots with you. Or if you don't summon the helper you get. They just completely destroy you. Even though the arena is basically made to help you out. But it just doesn't. He can jump over the pillars and just fucking put all this fucking weight on you and just roll over you and just fuck you up. I hated it so much. And therefore, I'm gonna put him in F tier. I just did not enjoy this boss fight. If I fought him solo, it would probably have taken more tries than Millennia. I'm also gonna bring this here. It's basically the same thing. So yeah. There's that. Next up, one of my favorite fights in the game, Dragon Lord Pladus. The best dragon fight in the game. It's just amazing. The arena being a coliseum is so cool. The fact you basically go back in time when you take a nap on the ledge there, also really cool. OST amazing. The moveset of this dragon just teleporting around, slapping you. I loved it so much, even though it is a long boss fight. It is worth playing it throughout the entire thing. Even if it takes you 15 minutes to beat him, it is worth it. The design of the dragon having two heads is so cool. And the fact that this dragon was basically one of the first Elden Lords as well just tops it off, making it even better. And so we're gonna have our first S tier boss. He's just amazing. My favorite in the game. Next up, we have Morgot, Lord of Blood. You know, if this fight didn't have that blood gimmick of the blood just being everywhere in the arena, burning you for standing in a second, filling up the blood loss build halfway, it would be so much better. The moveset is so fun. It was such a fun boss fight until there was blood splattered everywhere on the ground. You know, he just pisses on you constantly and I just did not enjoy that. I do not have a piss kink, so it was not for me. But overall, the fact that he is guarding the DLC, you know, he kidnapped Mikola. And he's also, you know, kind of a child predator at the same time because Mikola is like 6 years old if I remember correctly. It's just weird. Kind of weird to me. But his cinematic where he just comes out of the blood is so sick. I loved it. The boss design, fucking sick. His moves, you know, the Nihil. Is so cool, even though it fucks you up if you don't have a potion on. Just the boss fight is so fun, minus blood loss. The OST is amazing. His design, fucking flawless. I loved it a lot, even though I said I hated him. Honestly, it's one of my favorite bosses in the game, if there wasn't any blood on the floor. So he's going to be moved down with his brother Morgot in B tier. Like how I said I was going to rate these bosses in the order I fought them, but I'm just not anymore, I guess. Next up, Millennia, Blade of Mikola, the toughest boss in the game. If you don't have a summon with you, or if you don't cheese it with Blasphemous Blade, she is just tough as fuck. She is a really cool boss though, one of my favorite lore wise, but fighting her solo is a nightmare. I tell you, a nightmare. 170 attempts to beat her, almost 3 times more than Morgot, and Morgot was my second highest death count out of every boss here. But in all honesty, she is an amazing boss fight. Her OST beautiful. Her arena, serene. Her first phase, pretty easy. She lets you get some hits off of her for free, and that makes it okay. While her waterfowl fucks you up, you basically need a shield if you want to protect yourself, or else you're gonna die. Like, most of the time, you're gonna die. And after first phase, when you think you kill her, she's basically laying in the water, drowning a little bit. You walk up to the tree, you know, you have thoughts in your head. Am I gonna fight that tree? Then she says, wait. And you look over, and she's still alive, but she is in a cocoon of scarlet. She comes out of it, and she has these wings, these butterflies just flying around her. It is such a sick design. Like, it is just so cool. It leaves me speechless at times. The first time I saw it, I was stunned. I was absolutely stunned. Such a sick boss fight, even though it sucks fighting her solo. It was only stressful for me because I was playing her for like hours straight. It took me 9 hours to beat her, which was a long ass time. I wanted to get a video out as soon as possible, so I grinded my ass off the fighter, and I got so frustrated whenever I died to dumbass moves. But again, amazing boss fight. I'm gonna place her in A tier. Alright, let's do Loretta. Loretta. I fucking hated it so much. I'll be honest, the fact that she just spams shit at you is cringe. Cringe as fuck. She just has these little balls of light. She shoots out 3 at a time, and then she stacks it up with fucking arrows. You dodge and get hit by the arrows. You try to heal. Oh, you're getting hit by fucking speckles of dust. And it fucks you up. It really fucks you up. She did not deserve any of the screen time I gave her. She is a witch. And like I said, she deserves to burn. I would call her the Wicked Witch of the West if she wasn't all the way on the north side of the map. So she's basically the Wicked Witch of the North. And therefore, she's more fun than Godskin Duo. I'm gonna put her in E tier. I did not like the fight at all. And like I said earlier, I do not like spammy projectile fights. It's just horrible to fight when you're using physical moves. So yeah, E tier for her. Next up, we have Beast Clergyman / Balaketh. In my opinion, the coolest boss design out of every single one. The fact he just pulls out a sword from his hand and becomes a fucking cool ass lion, wolf, whatever it is so sick. The moveset, fucking beautiful. Lore wise, I love this boss. OST wise, I love this boss. Design wise, I love this boss. Such a sick fight, and that's why I'm gonna put it in S tier, just below Dragon Lord Placidus X. Okay, there's fucking bosses missing, like Elden Beast. I need to put him on. There, got Elden Beast here now, so I can do him last. Next up, Sir Gideon Ofnir, the all-knowing. The silliest fight in the game, in my opinion. Just so silly. But it is pretty tough if you don't kill him pretty quickly, because he does spam magic at you. He spams every spell in the book. He gets harder the more bosses you fight, and it's just fucking annoying. Sir Gideon Ofnir, goofy ass fight. You're going into E tier. We're almost done. Next up, Godfree, first Elden Lord / Horal Lou. This fight was fantastic. The cinematics were amazing. Him having his own JoJo stand with the lion holding back his bloodlust before he transforms into Horal Lou is just so cool. His moveset really fun to play with. The scale of the fight also really cool. He's just breaking the earth, somehow not even destroying the platform we're on. With the fucking strength he has, just crushing the ground. He even causes a fissure. I don't get how he didn't break the earth tree then and there. Really cool fight, but also fairly easy, especially his second phase. His second phase, there's not much coming at you other than him like trying to grab you, you know, he's trying to fucking smack your ass and just stomping on the ground. There isn't really much to it. Very easy fight, you know, very readable moveset as well, but that just makes it more fun. Again, the design, the voice acting, flawless. The OST, flawless. I love this boss so much, even though I beat him in 3 tries in this playthrough. And so, I'm gonna move him to A tier. Next up, we have Radon of the Golden Order. It says / Elden Beast, but I have Elden Beast as its own because they are basically 2 separate boss fights. Radon is such a sick fight. His design looks amazing. When you first go in the Erdtree, you think it's America, but the Great Order knows that America wants to fight against it and just uses Radon as its own pawn. Lore-wise, amazing. OST-wise, he has the original soundtrack, you know, on the title theme is just fucking marvelous. I loved it. It was so epic. The fight itself, really fun. The moveset, really fun. Since it's really dodgeable, you can basically tell what's coming. And I think the fact that you're able to tell what's coming just makes it so much better. Bosses that are unpredictable, I don't really enjoy that much. So bosses that have readable movesets are just so fun to me. And Radon is one of those bosses. You know, he's also like Thor, and I love Thor. Thor's an amazing superhero. So that just kind of boosts him up to A tier. Boom. I'm not going to do these two. They're not really important to the story. So I'm going to skip to Elden Beast. Elden Beast is a majestic ass boss. The arena is so beautiful, out of this world. Kind of literally too, because it is basically its own dimension. He basically casts his own domain expansion and traps you in a void. But that void has a bunch of beautiful Erdtrees surrounding it. The arena, you're walking on water like you're Jesus while fighting a god, which kind of just resembles, you know, Jesus and God in a way. But Jesus is against God in this like story here because you're Jesus, and Elden Beast is God. His moveset just amazing. The stars falling from the sky, beautiful. The galaxy projectiles that explode, really cool looking. He can have a nuclear bomb, so sick. The only move I don't like are the stars that follow you and explode at the end. They just take your health down little by little, and they're really annoying, which is why I use a flask to heal me instead of take damage there. The OST also fucking serene. I loved it. It was just such a calming OST. You know, when you're fighting him, it feels intense. Then you just hear the OST and you're calmed down. You're put in line. You're more focused because it's not intense as shit. And yeah, this fight, absolutely amazing. The cinematic of him just coming out of the ground, turning a Radon into a fucking sword. Because of course this boss needs a sword, or else it wouldn't be a Souls boss, right? Overall, S tier. Not just because of the design, the OST in the arena, the moveset just adds up for it to be an amazing, beautiful fight. It is also pretty easy too. The attacks, even though you can't really see anything, once you get used to it, it's just really fun to play. I loved it so much, and that's why I'm keeping him in S tier. Now let's see some changes I can make. I'm going to move Morgot above Godric. I'm going to move Lich Dragon Fortisax above Radon. There we go. And also Radon above Melania. And Horal Lou above Melania, because Melania is a pain in the ass. Come on, yeah, there you go. Estelle above Renala and Dragonkin Soldier, the Noxtella version above Renala. I'm gonna put Godfree in his spirit form above all the D tier. And actually, I'm gonna move him up to C tier, you know, a little boost here. Sir Gideon, move him up to D tier. It is honestly not as bad as these guys. Let's be real, not as bad. Godskin duo. And just the Godskin duo in general, stay in F tier. Fuck them. I hate them so much. So much. So that is my opinion on every boss formed in a tier list. So if you have any thoughts or places you would put these bosses, be sure to comment down below. I'm very curious to hear you guys' opinions on it. Anyway, if you haven't checked out my Elden Ring playthrough, I'll put the playlist in the description below. And if you did enjoy this video and want to see more, please be sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.
Love.